Hey YouTube, welcome back to Meadowbrook 135 Media, the place where ideas connect. I'm Mike Rogers, CPA, also known as Millennial Mike online. This is Slightly Crypto Famous number 2. The title of this essay is The Performance of Conviction, Backstage in the Blockchain Revolution. This one is about conferences, certainty, stage language, smaller rooms, and how incentive structures can shape the way conviction gets performed in public. Opening disclosure. A quick note before we begin. What follows is an observation about incentive structures, not a claim about any specific person, company, or project, commentary and education only, not investment advice. Opening setup. Slightly Crypto Famous number 2, The Performance of Conviction by Mike Rogers, CPA, at Millennial Mike 7. Backstage in the Blockchain Revolution. By the time you've spent enough time in the smaller rooms, the stage starts to sound different. At first, it all sounds the same. Confident, clear, directional, the kind of language that feels like it belongs in a system that knows exactly where it is going. Panels move quickly. Questions get answered without hesitation. The future is described as if it has already been decided. If you're new, it's convincing. It's supposed to be. I remember sitting in the audience at one of those conferences, watching a panel that felt unusually polished. Everyone on stage agreed more than they disagreed. Not in a rehearsed way, in a smooth way. The kind of agreement that suggests alignment, or at least the appearance of it. Each speaker had a slightly different angle, but the tone was consistent. Certain, measured, forward looking. No one paused for long. No one said, I don't know. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Confidence seemed like a reasonable response to a fast moving industry. But something about it stayed with me. Not what was said, how it was said. The pacing, the lack of hesitation, the way each answer seemed to arrive fully formed. It took me a while to understand what I was noticing. The panel wasn't just sharing ideas, it was performing conviction. The language of certainty. The language of certainty. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Certain phrases show up again and again. The market is clearly moving in this direction. This is inevitable. We're building the future. The next phase is already underway. The language sounds like analysis, but it behaves more like signaling. Not because the speakers are insincere, because the environment rewards clarity more than hesitation, conviction more than uncertainty. In rooms like that, confidence does more than communicate belief. It communicates legitimacy. It tells the audience, this is someone who understands what's happening. This is someone worth listening to. This is someone who belongs on the stage. And over time, you begin to notice something subtle. The more certain the tone, the less room there is for doubt. And the less room there is for doubt, the less visible the actual complexity becomes. What the stage rewards. What the stage rewards. The stage is not designed to hold uncertainty. It is designed to hold attention. Panels are timed, answers are expected, silence feels like hesitation, and hesitation reads like weakness. So the system adapts, not consciously, structurally. People learn how to speak in ways that travel well. Clear statements, directional views, confident framing, even when the underlying reality is more complicated, especially when it is. Because in an environment where capital, attention, and reputation are constantly moving, uncertainty does not scale. Conviction does. Backstage. Backstage. The difference becomes clearer when you return to the smaller rooms. The tone shifts. Sentences get shorter. Questions replace statements. What are you seeing? How real is that? What's actually driving it? There are pauses. People think before they answer. Sometimes they do not answer at all. The same people who spoke with certainty on stage sound more measured here. Not less informed, just less absolute. The confidence is still there, but it is quieter, more conditional, more aware of what is not known. That contrast is hard to unsee once you've noticed it. On stage, conviction. Backstage, calibration. The incentive. The incentive. It would be easy to interpret this as inconsistency. It is not. It is alignment with incentives. On stage, the goal is clarity. Off stage, the goal is accuracy. Those are not always the same thing. Clarity travels. Accuracy requires context. Clarity attracts attention. Accuracy invites questions. So the system naturally tilts toward what moves faster. And what moves faster is usually what sounds more certain. The cost. The cost. Every strength carries a cost. Conviction is no different. The more a system rewards certainty, the harder it becomes to express doubt. The harder it becomes to update publicly. The harder it becomes to say, this is more complicated than it sounds. Over time, narratives begin to harden, not because they are perfectly true, because they are repeatedly reinforced. And once a narrative becomes tied to reputation, adjusting it carries a cost. So it lags, not dramatically, more subtly, quietly, just enough for reality to start moving ahead of it. The observer. The observer. At the time, I wasn't thinking about any of this in structured terms. I just noticed the difference. The same people, different tone, different pacing, different level of certainty. I didn't have the pressure to speak on stage, which meant I didn't have to resolve uncertainty out loud. I could let things remain open. That turned out to be an advantage. Not because it made me more informed, because it made me more attentive. The fracture. The fracture. Eventually, the pattern becomes difficult to ignore. The stage does not reward accuracy, it rewards confidence. The room does not eliminate uncertainty, it contains it. Both are part of the same system. One makes the future legible, the other makes it navigable. At first, I thought the difference was stylistic. Later, I understood it was structural. In certain environments, certainty is not just a reflection of belief. It is a signal that you belong. And like most signals, it tells you something, but not everything. Observation about incentive structures. Not a claim about any specific person, company, or project. Commentary and education only, not investment advice. Sign off. Sign off. Slightly Crypto Famous is a series of field notes from inside the first generation of the blockchain industry. Observations about power, narrative, and the social machinery that shaped the era. Written by Mike Rogers, CPA, at Millennial Mike 7. Isn't it funny? The truth just sounds different. Disclosure. Slightly Crypto Famous is a reflective series combining narrative storytelling and commentary on technology, markets, and industry culture. References to individuals, companies, or events are presented as observational narrative and are not intended as factual claims about any specific party. Nothing herein constitutes financial, investment, or legal advice. All opinions are solely those of the author. Final closing. Copyright 2026, Slightly Crypto Famous. Narrative commentary, not investment advice. Thanks for watching. This was Slightly Crypto Famous number 2, The Performance of Conviction. If this format resonates, we'll keep turning these field notes into narrated essays. Thank you for joining us at Meadowbrook 135 Media, the place where ideas connect. We're going to keep building, we're going to keep documenting, and we're going to keep following the signal together.